2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Purlwise Podcast, knitting all day, let's look at it together. Purlwise Podcast, stitch by stitch, we can make whatever. Stitch by stitch, it's made by your friend Claire.
Okay, hello. I think there's minimal noise around me. We'll see. It's kind of finally warming up here. So of course there is construction, probably construction over there. And it's gonna be like that, and that's fine. So I hope it sounds okay. I'm Claire. This is Purlwise. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about mostly my knitting, sometimes my sewing. We'll see how far I get today. And maybe I'm thinking more and more I should just do a sewing video, which I know I talked about in the fall, and then I never did it. But yeah, I have stuff I want to talk about. And there were the things I was working on in the fall, a lot of them didn't work out how I wanted them to, so that's partly why that video didn't happen. But I think I've got some good pants happening, so maybe I'd like to show you those eventually. Oh, that's the radiator. I'm back in this corner. I hope that it looks nice. I guess I'm just feeling very indecisive about where I want to film these things. So, yeah. Where should I start? If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Claire. I live in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I'm a knitter. I just finished my second master's degree in translation studies, so that's part of the reason I've been gone for a while. April was really busy. I had my birthday, which was really fun. Had a big party, which was really nice. What else happened? Huge ice storm. Took out power to most of the island of Montreal. I can't remember, like 80% of people lost power. I didn't. It was nice. I had lots of friends here charging their phones, and I was gecko sitting for a while because the gecko was getting cold in her house. What else has happened in April? Yeah, we had ice storm one week. The next week it was like 30 degrees. It was 28 degrees Celsius. So that was a weird jump. Everything has finally melted. There are tulips. I saw tulips today. I saw hyacinths. I saw daffodils. I guess crocuses are over. I have really bad allergies. These are all the updates. What else have I done recently? Been going to see some music, as always. Saw 100 Gex this week. Really fun. If you like that kind of thing. Yeah. So, I'm happy to be back. I'm sort of in a weird transitional feeling after finishing my master's, which was like 2 kind of intensive years that I wasn't really emotionally ready for. But now it's done. And I'm just trying to like regain some sense of routine outside of school. And I'm hoping I can do more here, but I say that every time and then life happens, but that's fine. So thank you for being here, if you are here. I like talking to you. I like talking about knitting, and I have a few new things. I hope it'll be interesting. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're knitting while you're watching, what you're working on. Usually I link things in the description. If I forget to link something, just tell me. And yeah, I guess I'll start with what I'm wearing because it's new and you haven't seen it before. I meant to pull out, whatever. I'll get it now. So this is the Pure Mesh Pullover by James Ann Watts, with like just a couple light modifications. Yeah, I'm just wearing it over this black t-shirt, which is kind of, I first thought this would be weird, but in the end I like it. And I've worn this a few times actually, and I'm really enjoying having it. I kind of started it really impulsively because I decided I wanted to make one of these, and then I was like shopping around for yarn, and then I remembered something reminded me that I had this yarn that I had bought last year at Knit City here in Montreal. And it's yarn from Bouclettes, which is a farm in Van Cleek Hill. Yes, Van Cleek Hill, which is kind of like equidistant between Ottawa and Montreal. I'm from Ottawa. I live in Montreal. And I really want to go to the farm and see their Angora goats, but I have not done it yet. So they have Angora goats, which produce mohair, and then they get that spun up into different blends. And this one is their Fireweed blend. So it's a fingering weight. The pattern calls for a lace weight, but I feel like this is a pretty light fingering. I didn't really mind using a fingering. 2-ply. It's 75% kid mohair, 15% silk, 10% wool. Ooh, so nice. And 355 meters per 100 grams. They hand dye it as well, so it's kind of hard to see the variation when it's mesh, but oops, sorry, it bumped. You can kind of see you can kind of get an idea, but it is very fuzzy, and that's what I was worried about when I was knitting it. I was like, am I going to like having this fuzzy thin layer? But I really do, actually, and it's pretty warm in the end. I wore it to dinner the other night and I was hot. Colorway is called Metallic Gray, which I feel like in the camera looks pretty gray. When I bought it at Knit City, it looked really gray to me in the like artificial lighting that they had in that, like, it's like a conference center, where they held it last year, and I don't even know where it is this year. Probably the same spot, but looked really gray. And then I got it outside, and in natural light I find it looks really purple. So it really is an interesting color. Yeah, you can see my seaming. So yeah, it's knit in pieces, bottom up, and then you seam the shoulders, you pick up the sleeves, knit them down, and then you seam all up and down the side. Well, you start at the bottom and go up. And the modifications that I made to this were just to the cuffs and the collar. So it calls for, the original pattern has like a ribbed, I think it's 1x1 rib cuff and collar. I saw when I was looking through the projects that someone on Ravelry had done it with I-cord edging instead of the cuffs, or the ribbed cuff, which I really liked. So I decided to do that. And then I don't know, I kind of like how like light the unfinished edge is. because I was kind of imagining that I would mostly wear this under things. So I wasn't really bothered about there being like a nice finishing on the edge. But now that I'm wearing it over things, I don't know. I mean, I could go back. This took less than the full skein of the Fireweed, so less than 355 meters. I have a little, I don't remember where I put it, but just a little chunk left, which would probably be enough to do an I-cord here. But yeah, I don't know, something about the like unsubstantialness of this is working for me, I think. So for the cuffs, I'm pretty sure I just picked up the number of stitches. Do you pick up the stitches? Whatever it was, I just did the same number of stitches called for the rib and the same needle size, and then just did an I-cord bind off instead. And I think it worked out pretty well. One of them's a bit looser than the other. One thing that I wish I had done was just done maybe a couple more repeats, or one repeat after finishing the decreases, so that it was a bit longer, because I do find I'm always going like this, but it's really fine. They go up to a workable place, kind of like bracelet length. Yeah, I kind of like how it looks like, yeah, it does look very metallic. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. I wouldn't say it was the most enjoyable thing to knit. I knit it on 8mm needles, which is what the pattern calls for. I didn't really measure my gauge, and I didn't write down what size I made. I think I've got a 48-inch bust at the moment. Ish, 48.5 maybe. I measured recently, but I can't remember. Around there, and I think I just made whatever was recommended for that bust size. However many inches of ease it suggests in the pattern. And I was like messing around with trying to make the sleeves a different size at one point because I was worried they were going to be too loose. And that you can see there's kind of like space under here, but I think it's fine. It only really looks weird when I like reach up, but it's not even that weird. So yeah. And it's fun. I like how you can see my tattoos through it. And yeah, I saw Alex on Instagram, Bookified Knits, is making one as well, and we were chatting about it briefly. And one thing I had noticed while I was knitting it was that it's knit back and forth, but it makes this like really funny shape. For some reason, one side of the fabric ends up being a lot like floppier than the other side. It must be something about like what happens when you're going from knitting to purling. Yeah, so something about that, it makes it's not like a perfect square of fabric. And for whatever reason that wasn't bothering me, so I just persevered. And the same thing happened on the back. So it kind of evens out once you seam it, and there's so much stretching that happens when you're wearing it that you won't notice that like weirdness. And I found the mattress stitching to be a little bit stressful, but it was satisfying once I got the hang of it. But I was just constantly worried the whole time that I was messing it up, but it turned out fine. What else? Yeah, so it was a bit, I wouldn't say it's an easy knit, and I didn't find it, I mean, it's quicker than a lot of other things, but it's not like, for me, it wasn't super speedy. I found I couldn't knit very quickly because I was using those 8mm needles. And I was having to, on the purl side, I was throwing instead of knitting continental, which is what I usually do, because it was so awkward. Like I couldn't knit continental with the big needles. So yeah, just things to keep in mind. But I want to make another one. I think I'd like one, maybe an actual lace weight, something less fuzzy. I just don't really know what. I kind of want to do like silk, but I don't know, like I was thinking like the Knitting for Olive silk, whatever that's called, I forget. But yeah, it's just, I guess that's fingering weight silk. I feel like that would be nice, but I don't know how it would do like with the stretching. And there aren't that many examples of people who have done it in silk on Ravelry, so I'm not sure, but maybe I should just try. Yeah. What else to say? The first time I wore it, I immediately like caught it on my purse and pulled like a big loop out, but I just went like this and it's fine. And I think because there's silk in this, it's going to be pretty strong, and mohair's pretty strong, so yeah. Fun. Ta-da! Okay, what else? Yeah, I'm looking forward. There's a part of me that wants to go buy more of this year at Knit City. But I have another skein of this exact color. Yeah, I don't know what to do with it now. Okay, second finished thing is, well, a previously finished thing. I did refinish my daily pullover and it's all crumpled. I had finished this ages ago in the fall. And then I decided recently to add some length to it because I didn't like where it was hitting. So I added, I think I'd followed the pattern exactly, and it's the Daily Pullover by Paula Pereira for Purl Soho, and it's knit in Purl Soho linen quill in the color Kettle Black. So this is where I was initially. So I ended up, just ripping everything back, adding 3 inches to the body, and then redoing the rib and redoing the sewn bind off. And I'm really glad that I did it because I feel like it fits much better, and I will put it on and show you. Yeah. So now I wear these like very, very high-waisted pants. And now, before it was, 3 inches shorter, so you could really see my belly, which is fine, but it just didn't mesh for me with the style of the sweater. So I like that now there's more of that like looseness here. But yeah, I haven't really worn it. I should wear it. I think because it's kind of closer fitting than all of my other sweaters, I think I just don't reach for it because it feels a little more like form fitting, and I'm maybe less comfortable in it. So, but I think it looks nice, so yeah, I don't know. I also feel like it needs a good bra, and I don't have a ton of good bras, which like supportive. Anyways, yeah, so that's the daily pullover. Not much to say. Except that I did omit the short rows at the back. So the pattern is written to have a wedge of short rows at the back, and I found that it brought it down too much. I think it's partly because I have a bit of a sway back. So I kind of stand like this. So when things are really long in the back, like you can see here that it's the same Same length all the way around, minus the small amount of short rows that are up here. And I have like a lot of fabric that gathers in the small of my back. So if there's extra short rows at the bottom, then it's even more. But I'm trying to kind of, I think part of my sway back is that I don't have very strong abs. And I've been trying to strengthen my abs so that I have less of a sway back. I don't know where I got that from, but so yeah. Versus this. Just trying to stand with better posture, but who cares also. Yeah. So it's really nice. It's feeling very warm right now. Yeah, that's the daily pullover. I kind of have been gravitating away from black. I think partly because I've, like everybody else, have been trying to figure out my color season. And I think that I'm a soft summer because I'm pretty like low contrast. And I'm realizing I look good in cool colors, which is not what I thought initially. But anyways, that is another thing that doesn't really matter, but it's kind of fun. But it has made me be like, I don't know that black is the best on me. So that's another reason I haven't reached for this much. But I think maybe next fall. This is kind of a fall sweater. What should I put on next? So I think that maybe I'll show you first something that I'm gonna frog. I'm gonna frog it and I feel really sad about it, but it's okay. Okay, I'm back. Right, yes. I will show you what I'm gonna frog. And it is unfortunately my Noro honko sweater. So this was going to be the honko by Sari Nordland, which is like a drop shoulder, big boxy sweater, knit in the, see what I mean? I think this looks better on me than black, but it's not what I gravitate to or have gravitated to for years. But I think part of that, like I've worn black for so many years, and I think it's like a thing when you grow up fat, you're told that black is slimming, and so you wear black a lot, and it's kind of cursed. So it feels good to break out of that a little bit. And knitting has helped with that a lot because I don't particularly want to knit with black. It's just not as fun. And so it's made me like develop this wardrobe in a lot of different colors, and kind of forced to be more colorful. And I like that about knitting. But anyways, I'm going to frog this, and I realized I just don't have enough yarn to make it the size that I would like it to be, the length that I would like it to be, and I don't want to buy any more because I've already like sunk so much money into this sweater because it is the Noro Silk Garden Sock Solo, held with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair, and it's been one of those things where I had a few balls, bought more to make a bigger sweater, and then I need more, and then more, and I'm sure that's happened to other people as well. But yeah, so I do have a bit more of the Noro, like I have this much, but I was weighing it and seeing how many rows I could do, how much like each row weighed, and I just was realizing that it was gonna have to like end soon. Like I wasn't getting very many inches under the arm. So yeah, I think that maybe for the limited amount of yarn that I had, a drop shoulder was the wrong choice. And I think what I'd like to do is rip this out and just knit like a fairly simple raglan at a slightly larger gauge. Like I think this is I think, pretty sure this is like 20 stitches per over 4 inches. And I was thinking maybe like 18 stitches instead. And then maybe I'd be able to get like a simpler, yeah, just a nice little kind of cropped sweater. And wouldn't have to buy any more yarn. I also, like, I think this was going to be really, really warm, which is fine, but I think a more simple layer that is super warm is more what I want. But I can put it on and show you if I can remember which is the back. Yeah, and it's sad because I picked this up and I like finished both sleeves, and I did like see, I think I look better than in this than in black. It's hard to, okay. So yeah, you can kind of see it's like really fun, and I like the big sleeves, but it's just not gonna work. Oh, but now that I'm looking at it, it's so nice. But yeah, I think just with this yarn, something a little smaller and simpler would be better. Unless, now I'm doubting myself. Okay, well, poll in the comments. Let me know if you think I should rip this out and make just like a smaller, more conventional raglan. Yeah, just like a simple, more close-fitting raglan. Or if I should just finish off what I have and have this like super cropped, weird sweater. I don't know, it could be cool. Ugh, decisions. It's funny like this because you can't even, looks like I'm wearing like I'm at the hairdresser. Yeah. Gosh darn it. I also, maybe I don't like this collar on me. It feels like a bit much. But maybe that's because it's warm. It's warm in here. Well, let me know what you think. So I guess I'll just set this aside for now because I have other stuff I can do, and maybe I'll change my mind. Okay, I won't frock it right away. But yeah, tell me what to do. It's funny, you can see the mesh under. Pretty short sleeves, but I do think also with blocking I'll get a bit more length everywhere. Oh no, best to not think about it right now. It would feel hard to rip out because I like did all this, the sewn bind off everywhere. Yeah, I do really love the colors though. Okay, fluff everywhere. What next? I mean, this is a bit more interesting than the other thing, but I started it first. We're going chronological. So the next thing I have that I started probably a month ago, I've shown this yarn and I talked about how I wanted to do this, but I feel like I was having a bad day. That's often when things get cast on. If I'm like having a pretty bad brain day, I will cast on something new, which is why it's kind of nice to have some stash. It's the Canvas pullover by Orlansuk. Interesting. It looks pretty like red on screen, but it's definitely a little more purple in person. Maybe I can... yeah, it's cooler in person, cooler toned. It's pretty cool though. This is yarn that my dear friend Kay gave me, and their partner Izzo as well, from a de-stash from Izzo's family friend. Was doing a huge de-stash, and Kay picked up a lot of stuff and set aside this beautiful sweater quantity for me. And some people were saying in the comments, I can't remember what video, I was like asking if anybody knew what this was, because it's unlabeled, but it feels to me a lot like Brooklyn tweed, or like something that was spun at that same mill, which I think also does is it Harrisville, the Harrisville mill? Maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but to me it looks a lot like that. Like I have this, ooh, I keep slamming into the radiator. This is my Grass Whispers beanie that I knit in Shelter. I don't know, maybe you can kind of see it's a similar like feltiness with all the naps and naps. Yeah, anyways. So that's what I think it is. And then somebody mentions, I'm sorry, I should have checked for your name again, that sometimes at that mill they have like test colors that don't get produced, but that you can buy at like their mill store or whatever. So that could be what this is. The de-stash was from someone in the US, so that could be very well be what happened. Yeah, and this is a pattern by Orlansuk, one of my favorite designers. I'll put this on too. I put cords in it so I could try it on today for the first time. I'm really happy with it. It's going on the floor. Yeah, I was a bit worried that it was a bit small. I'm making the size 5, and I think there's like 11 sizes or something. And I'm always confused because I'm so used to being one of the bigger sizes that when I look at this, I can never find my size in the like list of sizes in the pattern, because I'm always looking at the end and I'm wrong and whatever. But yeah, really, really size inclusive. So I think this, I just have it on the needles and some barber cord, which is why it's doing this. But the size 5 is supposed to give, I think, a 54-inch circumference. And I, like I said, am about a 48 to 49-inch bust right now. So that's like 5 to 6 inches of positive ease. And I think it looks good. Yeah, this has been a nice, like, kind of brain off once you learn the cable chart. I've mostly been working on this for the last little while, and I think maybe I'm ready. Again, I can't decide how long to make it, but I have a lot more of this. I think I've used 300 grams maybe ish. I think I had about 700 grams, and yeah, I've got tons, so I could make it much longer, but I feel like this fabric, like, there's something about woolen spun yarn where it's not very drapey. It has that like fluffy felty quality, and I'm realizing that maybe when a knitted fabric has that kind of quality, I want it to be the short cropped, like more like at my pants level cropped, you know, because it kind of holds its shape and it stands out a bit from my body, versus when I think I might want a longer sweater is when it's a bit drapier and I can like tuck it into the front of my pants and there'll be like drapes and folds that are a little more fluid rather than kind of like felty. And does that make sense? Just looking at like the drapiness, there's not much drape to this hat. It is very like solid and holds its shape, you know, which I don't think is the best for like tucking in the front of pants, which is how I want to wear it if it was longer. So I think I've convinced myself to go on the shorter end of things, which probably means that I'm going to start the ribbing now. Which I was looking at the pattern and the sample ends like right here at the end of the repeat, so you get the full like a diamond shape or zigzag. But she does say in the pattern she gives like several rows that you can end on, and I think it will look fine if I end it here. Like nobody's gonna notice but me that it doesn't have that. And maybe it's also kind of nice that it's going out rather than in. So yeah, they're two inches of ribbing, I think. And I was going to pick up and knit the collar before trying it on, but then I noticed in the pattern she suggests that you block it first and then do the collar. And I just thought I would follow the instructions, because yeah, it makes sense, because this is going to block out a fair bit, I think. I mean, it's pretty scrunched together now, so it'd be better to pick up the collar once this has been flattened out, sort of smoothed out. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. And I like, one of the details I like about this pattern is there's like this purl ridge before all of the ribbing. I just feel like Orlan always has these like very beautiful little tiny details that really finish things nicely, and like even the look of the cast-offs is always considered, and like just like the Bonnie, I talked about how she had you binding off in pattern and it made this like nice sort of like edging on either side of the rib, because of that there was like on the Bonnie there's like this lateral braid around the cuff, and then the cuff, and then you have like the ridge that's made by binding off in pattern. And it's a similar thing happening here where there's like the purl ridge and then the collar, which is I think kind of supposed to be kind of high, so we'll see how high I make it, but and then that like ridge of the bind off, versus like something tubular where it's more like seamless looking. I just think that the way she thinks things through is like really nice and complete. So yeah, I'm really happy with this, and it's going pretty quickly. Yeah, I feel like I've made recently a lot of these like kind of 20 stitches over 4-inch gauge sweaters, and they go so fast. It's crazy. Just like side-eyeing my Marit cardigan right now, which I put out to force me to finish it. I swear I'm going to finish it. I'm not going to talk about it, but here's my plan. Knit City. It's on the 20th and the 21st of May. I think maybe we'll go on the 20th. I'm not sure. Kind of would like to, because it seems like a lot of people are going that day. But then I'm also like, maybe don't want it to be as busy. Anyways, probably on the 20th of May we'll go, me and my friends Izzo and Kay and Rudy, like my little knitting group, even though is a knows how to knit but doesn't really knit. I feel like I say that every time, but they're part of it. Where was I going with this? Oh, my plan. I'm going to Nova Scotia from the 8th to the 19th of May. So I'm flying back the day before Knit City. And my plan is to finish the Marit between now and the 8th so that I can wear it at Knit City. It's probably going to be too warm to wear it, but it's a cardigan. I could keep it open. I could carry it. I could just have it with me, carry it around like a baby. But I think it's nice to like have a deadline and be excited to finish something for an event. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking right now. Anyways, this is a bit hot. It's really pretty. See? We're draping. Look kind of sickly, maybe. I think I look less sickly. And I think this kind of muted shade is good for me too. Anyways, whatever. It's just like fun to think about these things and sometimes. And it's like convincing me to wear more color, which is good. What next? I do have one new cast on, and I cast this on, God, I've lost all track of time, but I guess last week I just finished my degree and I was like so tired. I've been trying to record for ages now, but I just like needed to lie down for like 5 days. Which is odd because I felt like I didn't feel like I was working that hard to like finish things up. And I was managing to have like a good schoolwork life balance in there. But I just, once it was over, it was like a big release, I guess. So I treated myself to a cast on with just stash yarn, which I've had for ages. And this is what I have. It's not much yet, but I've been wanting to do something for a while with this Nutiden that I have. So you can see here I'm marling 2 colors of Nutiden. I'll go get the plates. I've had these quantities of Nutiden for ages, and didn't quite know what to do with them. Partly because I had ordered this green, so my plates aren't very beautiful. I'm sorry. They've been vacuum sealed for a while, and I think the moths had gotten at this colorway, so they're all. If there's anybody in there, it's dead. Which means, part of why I balled it up was, to marl it, but also just to go through it and clean it a bit as I go. But it doesn't seem too bad. Like, I see there are a few breaks here on the outside. Yeah, it's okay though. It's very salvageable. And I just pay attention while I'm winding it and do it somewhere that I can like clean up if there's any because what'll fall out is like old eggs, unfortunately, which is really gross, but I'm at a point in my moth journey where I feel less traumatized. So I don't think that they got to this particular. The moths seem to prefer some yarns to others. So I had initially bought 500 grams of this color that I don't remember the name of. And I think I had bought they did this color twice, and so I have two slightly different batches, and one of them was called Medvind, and I forget the name of the other one, but it's like a natural brown with like a good like silveriness through it. And this I had bought thinking it looked really like forest green to me, which it does here, but it is a lot more teal, I think, in person than I was expecting. And so I really, at first, it was like cooler than I thought, I guess. And I didn't love it. So I've been thinking for a while, and now I'm like, it's pretty, but it does have that like tealy edge that I don't know that I would want it. It would just read too teal, I think, if it was all one garment in just this colorway. So I decided to marl it. Nope. And I've had in my head for a while that since I have so much of it, so altogether I have 1,100 grams, I thought I should do like a sweater coat, like something pretty substantial. And I just have been trying for ages to find the right pattern, and I've like swatched a bunch. I have swatches in here I can show you. This is like my weird box of knitting paraphernalia. There's like a billion little swatches. So this was a swatch with 2 strands of the natural brown and 1 of the green. I think I was thinking of doing like a Miles shirt jacket, but I don't think it's really my style. I'm realizing more and more in outerwear I don't love a drop shoulder, because it often makes me feel too boxy, and that's something I like feel insecure about, being too wide in the shoulders, which is totally not rational, but it's just, you've got those things that you think about yourself. And this was a swatch I had done in brioche, which is nice, but I don't know why I decided not to move forward with this. It was like I think I was looking at a Helga Isayer like brioche jacket, but again I think that was like a drop shoulder shape, and I was less interested in that. So those were the swatches I made. I've made such a mess, like just doing this, and like the only unmessy part of the apartment is like right here. So yeah, what I decided and landed on after thinking about this a lot, and I remember when this pattern came out I wasn't that into it, but something recently clicked and I was like, yes, that would be great. And I'm gonna knit the I'll put a picture, sorry, future Claire, put a picture here. It's the Nostalgic Sweater Coat by Albina McLaughlin, who you know that I love, another one of my favorites. And so this is the collar. That's as far as we've got. So it's interesting because I don't think I've ever knit an Albina pattern with Nutiden, but she works with it a lot. And it's knit at a very tight gauge, a gauge that I've never done such a tight gauge with Nutiden before. So I'm knitting it double-stranded, obviously. And the pattern calls for the main fabric for a 4mm needle, which I feel like usually I've knit Nutiden patterns that are like calling for a 5 or over. Like I knit the Felix, and that's a really open gauge. I knit the Isla, and that was at like a worsted weight gauge, but that was different. That batch of Nutiden was really thin. Anyways, I I had initially been thinking I would work this up at a larger gauge, but I think it'll be really nice, especially for a coat, because it will block more wind, whatever. It's not going to be like hugely tight, but it just means that because I'm a loose knitter, I have to size down from that recommended 4mm needle. And so I've decided to knit the body on 3.5mm needles. Didn't swatch, but I have looked at other things that I've knit and been like, I think that's right. Which means that I had to go down to a 2.5mm needle for the ribbing. It just seems crazy, but that's what I'm doing. So I have these tiny little needles, and it just hasn't, I did a bunch of this and then I kind of put it down because it's just not the most fun to knit this ribbing on 2.5mm needles, and I'm only about halfway through the collar, so it's got this like big funnel collar, which, yeah, I've been meaning to test if it fits around my neck. And it does. So yeah, I think this will be good because it's like a raglan coat. Oh yeah, and there are lots of options in this pattern too, which I really love. That's something Albina does a lot of, is different shaping options. So you can knit just like a straight, like raglan, then go straight down with the body, make like a boxy fit sweater, or she has instructions for A-line shaping. And then there's like a fit and flare option, so even more difference between the waist, or like the bust waist circumference and the hem circumference. And so I think I looked at the measurements and like the difference between the fit and flare and the A-line, and I think I'm gonna do the A-line. And while the like very long coat is very beautiful, I just think that's not, I've never been a long coat wearer, and I don't know that I can imagine myself becoming a long coat wearer. So I think I'm gonna do like a hip sort of length, and do the A-line shaping, which I'm excited about, because I think that I'm always trying to wear these like boxy things because my hip measurement is a lot bigger than my bust measurement, and so I'm always trying to wear boxy things, and then they're like tight on my hips, and it's just never what I want. So I think that doing that A-line shaping will be nice, and it's a nice change. I've never really done anything like that. So my hope is that I will finish it for the fall, but it means that I'm knitting like Aran White Nutiden sweater through the summer, maybe. That's fine. Everyone's putting out these videos about summer knits, and I'm like, it's time to get your sweater coats ready for September or October. September. It's still hot in September here. So, that is the next thing that I'm working on. And I feel like I'll finish the canvas pretty quickly. And then maybe I think I gotta just like suffer through this ribbing, unfortunately. It's nice to do something marled. I've been wanting to. It's not like the most dramatically marled fabric, but there was a part of me that like I got like pretty hyper fixated on making this sweater, and I was like, I gotta buy a different color. Like this isn't the right combination, but I think it's nice. It's like literally the color of my eyes somehow. That's so weird. I think of my eyes as like gray, which I guess this is evening out to like a bluish gray in a way. Anyhow. I think it'll be nice all over in a garment, and it's good to use what you have. I have made some purchases the last little while, and I have nothing in particular that I'm looking for at Knit City. I'm kind of just like, I think I feel like there were some nice surprises last year, like finding the yarn that I used for my Great Gingham, which is like dyed here in Montreal and was from Quebec sheep and I think spun in Quebec, and that was something that I didn't know existed, and it was really nice to discover it, and I'm hoping there'll be more stuff like that, like nice kind of local discoveries. So I might like look through Ravelry and come up with some ideas of things I might like to make and keep those in mind when I go, but yeah, no real plan other than I should set myself a budget, because it could get out of hand. But yeah, unfortunately I was trying to not buy anything till Knit City, but I bought a few things, and most of them I think there's like one other thing that I bought. I think that's it. Yeah, I bought one sweater quantity that, yeah, I'll show you eventually, but if it starts to become something. But this was kind of my like birthday present to myself. I bought a small sweater quantity of this beautiful yarn, which is Viola. And Emily, what's her last name? Emily Foden, who dyes Viola yarn, is retiring. And so I knew that I really wanted to get some of her yarn before she stops dyeing. And I know she has a few shop updates coming still. So, but yeah, I really was interested in this base, which is the West Country 4-ply, which is actually like spun in the UK. Like I think it's UK fiber spun at John Arbin, and then flown to Canada and then dyed and then flown to me. So it's not the most like, yeah, local, but how's this color? I'm overthinking this color thing, but yeah, this colorway is called number 11. And I just thought it was really nice. I feel like in person it's a little cooler again. Everything's coming off a little warmer on camera. But it has this a good amount of variegation, and I got 4 of these. I don't know why I only brought 2 to show you, but yeah, and I don't know what I'm gonna make with it. I just made sure I had enough for like a fingering weight. It's a fingering weight. For like I think I looked at the Azor pattern by Orlan Souk, which that is potentially something I could look for at Knit City, is a yarn to act as a contrast with these in an Azor. Could be nice. I guess my inclination is to not have like the patterning and the variegation going on at the same time, but it could also be really nice. I don't know. Maybe I should fight against that urge to like something with this amount of variegation. I kind of imagine on its own, just like stockinette. Because I also can't really imagine. Well, this is the Azor picture, please, Claire. And I don't know what contrast I would use to go with this. I was thinking like something undyed, like a white. That could be nice. Or like something neon. I don't know. Something I already have, ideally. Yeah, so let me know what you think of that. I guess I've been talking for an hour, so I should probably wrap up soon, but what else do I have to say? So yeah, let me know what you think this should be. I have 4 skeins of it, so they're 388 meters each. So that's enough for me for a fingering weight sweater. What should I do? Should I do an azar with this? Question 1. Question 2 was, what do you think I should do with the honko? Should I frog it and just knit like a cropped raglan, or should I finish what's here and have this like weird long boxy long extremely cropped thing? Maybe I just put it away for a bit. What are my other questions? What are you knitting? What's new with you? I'm also, I think I'm gonna start an Instagram like for this channel, but I haven't done it yet. So if you'd follow me on Instagram, let me know. I don't know. I just think that I like talking to you guys in the comments, but something about it feels very formal, and I just feel like it would be nice to have another outlet to like, yeah, be able to have back and forth with all of you, and to maybe like share more casually, more regularly. We'll see. Maybe I just have big ambitions because I'm done school, but I would like to do that. I would like to have an Instagram account for this channel. So I feel tired now. I hope that was fun and interesting for you. And yeah, hopefully, I don't know what I'm doing. I hope that the weather is treating you well, and that you have fun things to knit, and that life is all right. Yeah, have a good day. Bye.